We got our fuel tank. This is out of a 96 or 97 Chevy Blazer 2-door. This works out real good. So if I run this side over here, right up against the frame, the exhaust and everything will come right along here, and that's the factory way the exhaust runs. So, and it's an additional 19 gallons of fuel. So this is going to be kind of hard to see, but there's where it's sitting in there. There's where the stock exhaust comes through. So that leaves you about 8-9 inches in here, and gives me just enough room. Probably have about that much above the tank, which should be enough for the fuel lines. Alright, so it's kind of hard, I guess, but I thought the first one is going to be a piece of sheet metal folded up like the outside of this, and it will come up and straddle this support weld on here and over here, and have a leg coming out each way. So we'll try that piece, see if that gets us where we need to be. I'll probably end up making this part 2 or 3 times before I get it. Or I might have to weld it together. Alright, so now we get to the problem where we can't bend it back this way. So probably what I'll do is I'll cut this off, bend another piece, and weld the two together. Alright, this is something I've never tried doing before. Doesn't look like it's going to work. Alright, so that is just pure coincidence that I'm working on these 1¼ thick bars right here, and this piece is 1¼ thick. So I still may be able to get this in one piece. Just gonna down those. Alright, this actually may work. I want to stay in there. I think there's enough there for it to grab. And I'll be damned, it actually worked. Now the question is does it fit? Alright, so I know there's not going to be much light in here, but here's the piece I folded up. And that's where it should sit, and then that'll keep the tank down enough to clear the fill for the other tank. And it looks like I'm setting just a little bow, so I need to maybe bend that just a bit more. So I got the tank sitting on its side in here. It's how I'm kind of measuring stuff. But this is the piece that we just folded up, and that'll sit in there to get a little rubber pad, and then that'll weld to the frame on the body.
Alright, blurry screen. Alright, so just got the pump put in, and we realized that the upright that comes in here that's welded to the floors, so hopefully I can get fuel lines that have got like a 90-degree bend in them. I think I can. I think they're an off-the-shelf thing. Otherwise, I'm going to have to put a hole or something in the piece I welded to the floor. Alright, glue those onto there, like that. And we'll make our straps, and we'll do the same. We'll glue some more of that onto the strap. Tilt the tank from the frame. It's a really good fit. Alright, so this is going to be harder than hell to see, but I got a hole drilled through here and ran a bolt through this hole with a little pin on the end of it to stop it turning so you can tighten the bolt up. And I got the strap on, and now we're going to make the piece that comes up to here, and that'll pull the piece together and hold the tank up in there. Alright, so here's our tank strap assembly. So this piece will bolt onto the frame, and then of course that wraps around the tank, bolts up onto the cross member, and we'll crank it down. So let's go get the tank put in. Alright, boy, that looks like shit. That looks better. Enough light down here, but alright, so here's the gas door I'm going to use, fill that and all good stuff. But it's off of a mid-90s Chevy van, and it's the same size and everything as this one, just without the notch here for the fender. So I'll cut it in somewhere around here, and then we'll have to rework the fill neck a little bit. It's going to come about here somewhere. So this one angles back a bit. We'll cut it and move it, go straight down. Actually, it might be all I have to do is just cut it off, so just go straight down and just put a longer rubber hose on it, maybe. So there's the remote mechanism behind it here, so we're going to have to come back 2.5 inches, I guess, to be clear of everything. Alright, so going to do, I'm going to cut just a little bit of this lip hair away. And I need to get this as far forward as I can. So basically this will be within 1/8 of an inch or so of the mechanism that pops that one open. So I'm going to run out of room here for that hill. Alright, but so by cutting it a little small, I've actually got a little bit more room this way than I thought I had, not much. So I'll use that 1/4 of an inch that way. Actually, to be honest with you, there's a little cover on the mechanism that doesn't need to be there, which could actually give me a little bit more room. Looks like I need just a little ridge. About there. So, all I had to do was cut this little spot weld lip that was on here off. I'll just weld that solid, grind it back down. That is all I needed. Get this lined up to where it's going to sit up and down, get a square, trim her in, weld her in. So I'm probably going to need to make the opening down here before I do that, because otherwise I'm blocking myself out of being able to work in there. It's all in and down. So you want it to sit there, it's going to sit there. Alright, so all I needed was it needed this edge here cut off and then just welded shut. And now it should drop in there pretty easy. This is electrical cabinet knockout brushes come in handy. Alright, so I got just one tack holding this assembly on, and it looks like I've got to come up about 2.5 inches in that realm to get this to work. So I've got to take 2.5 inches out of here, bring this up 2.5 inches, and Could be a challenge finding 2.5 inches of straight pipe. Probably it's going to be in there, I'm guessing. This one here is easy enough, but in there, and it wants to rotate just a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to have to cut it here too. I have to rotate it, shorten it. Alright, so that took a little longer than I was expecting, so I had to cut it 3 times and then rotate it, but now she fits. Alright, let's sand it down. Alright, so there it is. It's in. A little bit of finished work, and it should be good to go. Okay, so it's in, and I know somebody's going to say, well, they're different lengths. Well, one, if you take this off here, where the radius is not at, they're about the same size. And then, there's no way you could have put a longer one in, because it's quite literally up against the support here, and it's up against there. So that is as big a fuel door as you're going to get in there. And you know, other than the fact that it doesn't have this crop in it, the radius on the door is the same and everything. So they're about 6 inches square. This one's about 8. So okay, so now that we got the fill neck in, we need to work on getting this right. So we need to cut this out a bit more down here. Clearance this a bit here, seal that up against there, and then put a whole new bottom back on this panel here. So we got our little cover plate, and a couple of little sheet metal screws will hold that on in there, and then we'll just fill it up with seam sealant and everything to fill up any gaps and everything later. All of that came out of that quarter panel. Alright, so I forgot to video the making of this patch panel here, but anyway, so I folded all that up, and it's now welded in. So under here, this is under the bumper, so I'm not going to chase this too much. I'll put maybe a little finish on it, but not a lot.